I have been playing Rise of Kingdoms for more than 5 long years, starting in March of 2019. Is it time to let it go? Join me to find out. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video from your very own Shappy Gaming. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Shappy. I'm a sponsored Rise of Kingdoms content creator, and this video, very special. There is a code that is going to be hidden out throughout this video. I'll post it a few times there. And if you get to redeem this code, it can only be redeemed up to 100 times, you get a special reward. So let's jump into it. Today we're talking about my Rise of Kingdoms journey, where I started, where I went in between, when my YouTube career started up, and where I am now. So let's start from the beginning. I started in Rise of Kingdoms roughly 2,320 days ago in March of 2019. And I started in college. Like some of the other content creators that you see, I started in college and I was just playing for fun. I was looking for a game that would be akin to Civilization, but I could play it with friends on mobile. And I started my very first Rise of Kingdoms expedition was actually in 1682, I think, Kingdom of Yarapok. And I played there for a few months, nothing too crazy. And from there, I said, okay, you know what? Let's start over. Now that I've learned from my mistakes, I've made all these, different errors along the way, as people do. Let me start over. And I started in Kingdom 1304. And Kingdom 1304 was where I played for my first 5 KVKs at least, probably even more. And Kingdom 1304, let's check it out, is a very weak kingdom at this point, but it was where I started. And I started in a alliance that was really called DRK. That was it. But DRK had actually originally been an alliance that I ran that was I think it was 03 or 04. We had a whole family of alliances, and I had my own alliance. It was awesome. A lot of the territory is still there. I think they call it Juk now, but I built out most of this territory in this kingdom. And ultimately, we ended up merging things together, and I ended up in 0, which was the main alliance. Retrospectively, I probably should have stayed there to begin with because I would have grown a lot faster. But what was cool about 1304 was this was way back in 2019. And so the kingdom was really big. We had a French alliance. We had a bunch of US players. We had an Asian alliance that could cover the Asian time zones. It was awesome. And this was when I first started playing Rise of Kingdoms. I had made a ton of friends in the kingdom. Even now, I still talk to some of them. Lily, Jabo, Loki. Shout out to you guys. Sif, Thor. A lot of good friends that I made back in 1304. And I got to run around. Occasionally, I'd hold R5. Miss Mayhem was in this kingdom, who's actually in Omniarch's kingdom, 1568. She still leads that. And this was my beginnings. And it was just such an amazing time. This was also before equipment was added to the game. So I was a rally and garrison lead. It was before armaments were added to the game. And it was before Crystal Tech was added to the game. So my first 5 or 6 KVKs, I remember we had, I think, 2 KVK2s. We had KVK1 with 1307 back when they were a powerhouse. And then I think we had 3 or 4 light versus dark KVKs, which was also awesome. And it was just so much fun back then. Then they rolled out Crystal Tech. Then they rolled out equipment. Things changed. The game changed. And ultimately, my kingdom didn't last any longer. And it was time to go because matchmaking meant that dead weight was a problem. And so we had to go somewhere else. We left behind some of the dead weight. So when it was time to leave 1304, we actually went to 1841. It looks like I still have a farm that's just kind of chilling there. It's probably one that I just started before I left because I could. And my kingdom's adventures continued. We didn't have a lot of wins in 1841. we got involved in some of the leadership, and we actually created an alliance called OM, where I helped lead along with Lily and Jabo, those folks that I already mentioned. And it was a blast. We had a really good time. Again, Crystal Tech was in the game at this point, and we did pretty well. We were here for a few KVKs, I think. I've played a lot of KVKs in my time in Rise of Kingdoms. And it was a good time. And the culture was good. Again, this was a 4-alliance kingdom when we joined. There was a Asian alliance, there were European alliances, there was a US alliance, because again, kingdoms hadn't shrunk yet. And so we had a good time here. We didn't win all that much. We got into some disagreements with leadership. A bunch of people left, so we did too. Now, my next destination was, I think, 2389. Yep, NH89. So this was where I went from there. And had a good time here, but this kingdom was very much an Arab-based kingdom, which was fine, except it didn't really work for my time zone or for the folks that I was fighting with and migrating with. And so NH89, yeah, spent some time there. Ultimately, this was not a good fit for us. It just didn't work out. There were some major problems when it came to getting people online. Some of my friends are still over here still, and so I have lots of respect for this kingdom. But at this point, you'll notice it's also kind of a dead kingdom. And so what's sad for me is really looking back at some of these kingdoms that I've been in and seeing how gone they really are. The next kingdom that I went to, and where I started my YouTube career, was 2120. And 2120 was amazing. This was such a fun kingdom, and this was actually when I left a lot of my original friends from the game. And I came over here, and we had a really good time. I was playing with Blu-ray, who looks like still has some leadership here. This was way back when Blu-ray was there. There were a bunch of other folks there. Colorado Rockies were there. This was a great kingdom. And actually, a lot of the people that were in this kingdom ultimately ended up going to 1093. So Shrednar is in 1093, and Hendog was in 1093 before he quit. And so this kingdom was also spectacular. This kingdom went toe-to-toe with a lot of great Imperiums, and it was amazing. Now, from 2120, my adventure changed, and I went to 1079. You guys can see, I've been playing this game for a long, long time. Now, 1079, I have so much respect for. I spent probably the most time in 1079 out of any other kingdom, except for 1304. In 1079, I was with Khan, with Gaines. That was when my channel really started to take off. I'm sure you guys remember this. Lots of collabs with Gaines, lots of KVKs in 1079. We fought against some of the craziest kingdoms. 1846. We didn't fight 1960, but we fought 1365, 1188. It was insane. Now, 1079 is also not really in that good shape these days. It's shrunk a lot. I think they're rotating right now because they're trying to build up credits. Some of the folks that I still remember are here. You got Khan, you got Princess, you got Nyx, Caveman, Erna, Mohawks, and I'm still in the chat. I love these guys. Major shout out to 1079. If you guys are watching, let me know. But this was a good kingdom. I had a good time there. I really, really enjoyed my time in 1079. But all things had to come to an end. And so I left 1079. And I went to 3265. Now, 3265, I had really high hopes for. I was like, I'm going to start winning KVKs. It's going to be awesome. Lost 4 KVKs and didn't go. Now, Rise of Kingdoms as a game has changed a lot since I first started. When I first started, this game was largely free to play. If you wanted to spend to get Minamoto, you could. And beyond that, it was just really, having fun, making friends, emphasis on community. And the game's changed a lot. There have been some great quality of life changes that have made it so now you can auto barb. They've made gathering nodes larger. But there's also been some things that I'm not a big fan of, like armaments have totally disrupted the game. The fact that they've made it so you can't get certain armaments unless you spend a lot of money is also really difficult for me. And most importantly is the Otarks. I have lost probably my last 10 KVKs And I think there was one victory in here at some point with 1079, but I didn't get no target. And so for me, it's been really hard looking back. You know, it's Rise of Kingdoms 7th anniversary. That's what the gift code is for. But it's been really hard looking back because all of the friends I started the game with, not really with anymore. I'm not winning KVKs. I'm spending lots of money every single KVK. So why do I still play? Right? That's a totally reasonable question. Shabby, if you're losing and if all your friends stop playing, why do you still play? And I think a lot of the reason why I still play is really because of you guys, right? The Shabby Squad. I love making content for you. And what's interesting is when I started my YouTube, I wasn't really planning on being just a Rise of Kingdoms content creator. I love playing video games, other games as well. My whole bio says Ratchet and Clank. When I first started, I was making Call of Duty content, Minecraft content, Ratchet and Clank videos, you name it, I was covering it. And I had a lot of fun doing it, but YouTube didn't really like that. And what I ran into was you guys loved my videos, and I found this great community in Rise of Kingdoms such that I couldn't really make content for those other games anymore because you wouldn't watch them and YouTube wouldn't push them out. And so I find myself at this point where it's like I've managed to build this amazing community. And sure, I've grown slower than some of the other creators, but all of you guys are so valuable and so meaningful to me that I continue to make content to try and help people enjoy this game, to try and help people find and build the communities that I've been able to find and build. And I have friends in all sorts of different kingdoms and other content creators that I've only been able to get through this game. And fortunately, with Rise of Kingdoms and you guys and the sponsorship, I've been able to cover most of my costs such that I can actually play for fun and I can buy, you know, some of the tech for fun. And so I'm just so immensely grateful to the community and to you guys for making this all possible. And I feel that we have a platform to make Rise of Kingdoms amazing, to push back on things like the new crystal tech changes that they've come out with, or the new Zenith changes that they've come out with, because we have a voice as a community. And I know this got really deep, but I appreciate you guys because you've enabled us and me to be able to do this. And, you know, I still stand by my thing is I want us to be able to play for fun, but I will be continuing to play Rise of Kingdoms for as long as you guys are here to support me and as long as the game is going, because it's just become a part of my life. And if you do want to see other content, let me know in the comment section below, because Battlefield 6 is coming out in October and I do play other games. I just don't make content for them. So let me know, because if you do, maybe I'll start a second channel called like Shappy Plays or something. Who knows? But if you guys have enjoyed, let me know in the comment section below. Drop a like on this video because I really poured my heart out for you. And if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, because of course, there will be more Rise of Kingdoms content to come. Be sure to go ahead and find that code somewhere within this video because you're going to like the rewards. Thank you all. Shappy out.